أجواء إيجابية إن شاء الله.
Good afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Yumna Nofan, and these are today's top stories. The Internal Security Forces refers former MP Hassan Yaoub to mount Lebanon's first investigative judge for his alleged involvement in Hannibal Gaddafi's kidnapping. China welcomes the adoption of a UN Security Council resolution on Syria, saying it reflects the consensus of the international community. And the UN Special Envoy for Yemen voices alarm at widespread violations of a fragile ceasefire, but insists the ongoing peace talks between the warring sides in Switzerland would continue. Good afternoon to all our viewers. Thank you for tuning in. We begin today with the Internal Security Forces Information Branch, which referred former MP Hassan Yaoub to mount Lebanon's first investigative judge, Jean Fernini, for his alleged involvement in last week's Hannibal Gaddafi kidnapping. According to the state-run national news agency, it wrapped up investigations with Yaoub and referred him to the General Prosecution in Babda, where an investigative judge will further question the former MP on Monday. Yaoub was arrested on Thursday for his suspected involvement in the kidnapping of deposed Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi's son last week, angering Yaoub's relatives and supporters. Yaoub's father went missing during an official visit to Libya in 1978, along with Imam Sayyid Musa Sadr and a journalist. Protesters held banners backing Hassan. They chanted slogans in solidarity with him, saying he has been treated unfairly. State prosecutor Samir Hammoud, who ordered the arrest, told the Daily Star that the decision to arrest Yaoub came after they received information and concrete evidence about his role in the kidnapping and hiding of Gaddafi's son. China welcomes the adoption of the UN Security Council resolution on Syria, saying it reflects the consensus of the international community. The UN Security Council on Friday unanimously adopted a resolution to urge the launch of the Syria peace talks in early January, stressing that the Syrian people will decide the future of Syria. China voted for the solution, saying no matter we vote for or against it, what we're concerned about is to avoid war and prevent conflict, which is for the sake of bringing peace to the Syrian people, as well as seeking a peaceful and political solution for the sake of maintaining the long-term fundamental interest of Syria and its people, as well as upholding the UN Charter's basic principles of the international relations and protecting legitimate interests of developing countries. This was according to Foreign Minister Wang Yi, the Chinese foreign minister. He said after the vote while attending the third ministerial level meeting of the International Support Group on Syria on the same day. German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier spoke to the media after Syria talks in New York and said that the process made by negotiators meant that the Vienna process toward a political solution to the Syrian conflict was progressing slowly. UN Special Envoy Staffan de Mistura said today at the end of the session that he will send out invitations to the concerned parties in Syria at the beginning of January so that negotiations can begin in the second half of that month. This also shows that the Vienna process that we began just a few weeks ago, he was quoted as saying, is not only alive but is progressing slowly, and that we are fully in line with the timetable, and that the colleagues we are meeting here in the so-called Vienna format are doing all they can to overcome the next hurdles. Steinmeier made those comments after a meeting of the so-called International Syria Support Group at New York's Palace Hotel. They agreed upon language for a UN Security Council resolution endorsing an international roadmap for a Syria peace process, a rare show of unity among major powers on a conflict that has claimed more than 250,000 of lives. The United Nations Special Envoy for Yemen has voiced alarm at widespread violations of a fragile ceasefire, but insists the ongoing peace talks between the warring sides in Switzerland would continue. Yemen's ceasefire, which took effect on Tuesday, appeared to have collapsed as government forces seized 2 towns from rebels and their Saudi counterparts. The Saudi-led Arab coalition allies, which accused insurgents of escalating the conflict by firing ballistic missiles. Up next,
hi everybody.
U.S. President Barack Obama gives his holiday list before he heads to Hawaii for the holiday vacation. Welcome back. You're watching the 4:20 o'clock news on Future Television. Before leaving for his annual winter vacation to Hawaii, U.S. President Barack Obama offered a holiday list to recap the year. In his weekly video address released, the president offered a top 10 list as to reasons to be optimistic for 2016. Included in his rundown were the strong economy, his change in policy towards Cuba, and the Iran nuclear deal. The president is to arrive to Hawaii later in the day to begin his holiday vacation. This is his address.
Hi, everybody. It's the most wonderful time of the year, not just for spreading holiday cheer, but also for list makers. You've got wish lists, Santa's lists, and of course a blizzard of year in review lists. So I decided to get in on the action. As a nation, we face big challenges, but in the spirit of 2015 retiree David Letterman, here, in no particular order, are my top 10 things that happened in 2015 that should make every American optimistic about 2016. Number 10, the economy. Over the past 12 months, our businesses have created 2.5 million new jobs. In all, they've added 13.7 million new jobs over a 69-month streak of job growth. And the unemployment rate has fallen to 5%, the lowest it's been in almost 8 years. Number 9, more Americans are getting health coverage. The rate of uninsured in America dropped below 10% for the first time ever. In all, 17.6 million people and climbing have gained coverage as the Affordable Care Act has taken effect. And don't forget, you can still sign up through January 31st at healthcare.gov. Number 8, America's global leadership on climate change. Last week in Paris, nearly 200 countries came together to set the course for a low-carbon future. And it was only possible because America led with clean energy here at home and strong diplomacy around the world. Number 7, progress in the Americas. We turned the page on an outdated, half-century-old policy by reestablishing diplomatic relations with Cuba and reopening embassies in both our countries, allowing us to build greater ties between Americans and Cubans. Number 6, preventing the spread of nuclear weapons. We succeeded in forging a strong deal to stop Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. In fact, Iran has already dismantled thousands of centrifuges that enrich uranium. Number 5, standing strong against terrorism. Even as we continue to grieve over the attack in San Bernardino, we are leading a global coalition and hitting ISIL harder than ever. In Syria and Iraq, ISIL is losing territory, and we're not going to stop until we destroy this terrorist organization. Number 4, a 21st century trade deal that makes sure our businesses can sell goods made in America across the Asia Pacific. The Trans-Pacific Partnership is the strongest, most pro-worker, pro-environment trade agreement in our history. And it means that America, not China, not anyone else, will write the rules of the global economy for the century ahead. Number 3, a pair of Christmas miracles in Washington. This week, Congress passed a bipartisan budget that invests in middle-class priorities, keeps our military the strongest in the world, and takes the threat of shutdowns and manufactured crises off the table for 2016. Plus, I signed a bipartisan education bill into law to help our students graduate prepared for college and their future careers. Number 2, love one. No matter who you are here in America, you're free to marry the person you love, because the freedom to marry is now the law in all 50 states. And the number 1 reason I'm optimistic going into 2016, it's you, the American people. All of this progress is because of you, because of workers rolling up their sleeves and getting the job done, and entrepreneurs starting new businesses, because of teachers and health workers and parents, all of us taking care of each other, because of our incredible men and women in uniform, serving to protect us all. Because when we're united as Americans, there's nothing that we cannot do. That's why it's been a good year. And that's why I'm confident we'll keep achieving big things in the new year. So happy holidays, everybody.
A crowd numbering over 1,000 people, some coming straight from work or home in everyday wear, others dressed as Jedis and other Star Wars characters, seemingly from galaxies far away, pushed into Pershing Square in downtown Los Angeles for a lightsaber battle aimed at setting a record for a number of participants. While there was real fervor in the clashing of these now iconic laser swords, pitting Jedi against Sith, the mood remained jovial, with people of all ages participating, from tiny Ewoks to oversized Darth Vader pretenders. For some, it was just a stop in a days-long Star Wars-themed vacation. The new Star Wars film is the 7th installment in the series created by George Lucas in 1977. Star Wars The Force Awakens hurtled toward $120 million at the U.S. and Canadian box office on Friday, and a potential record-breaking $215 million through Sunday, giving the long-awaited movie a shot at the biggest opening weekend of all time.
So Star Wars hit North American theaters with a vengeance last night, earning $57 million, with shows starting at 7 p.m. and running through and past midnight. That's a new record, beating Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, which earned $43.5 million, a record that stood for many, many years. This portends a really big opening day for the film. The records it's shooting for will be a first day, opening day record, surpassing the 91 million of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. We'll have to see if it can achieve that kind of number. And then for the weekend, the record it's looking at is trying to beat Jurassic World, which 6 months ago earned $208.8 million at the North American box office. 2015 has been an amazing year at the box office with Jurassic World, Furious 7, 50 Shades of Grey, Straight Outta Compton. I mean, I could name off, Minions. There's so many movies that have done really well. By the end of this weekend, though, Star Wars will probably be in the top 10 earners in North America for the box office year of 2015. And by the end of the year, it could be in the top 3. So it's going to earn a lot of money between now and the end of the year. But there's other movies out there as well. And hopefully all these films will do well and get us to a record of $11 billion in North America for the first time ever, and pushing in on $40 billion worldwide for the first time ever in 2015. It's already amassed quite a large amount of money in terms of that international box office already. And as we head into the weekend, depending on how well we do in North America, the international component could be a larger percentage of that worldwide gross. So if Star Wars does, 180 to 250 million, this huge spread that everyone's speculating about, the numbers internationally could be much bigger and put it over that $500 million mark for its opening weekend worldwide.
This marks the end of the bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. The Internal Security Forces refers former MP Hassan Yaoub to Mount Lebanon's first investigative judge for his alleged involvement in last week's Hannibal Gaddafi kidnapping. China welcomes the adoption of a UN Security Council resolution on Syria, saying it reflects the consensus of the international community. And the UN Special Envoy for Yemen voices alarm at widespread violations of a fragile ceasefire. However, he insists the ongoing peace talks between both sides in Switzerland are to continue. Those are your Saturday headlines live on Future Television. Make sure to catch us tomorrow for all the latest. Have a good weekend.
الأجواء إيجابية إن شاء الله.